"You're alive," so she said. This is the aaronzero show with another edition of today's noise and all the noise you never want to hear. And what do we have here? Well, in the Indian news, the Supreme Court has quashed the order of the Guwahati High Court, which had stopped the citizenship of 27 people. And they said this has to be a fair and legal hearing, and the people concerned had not been given a chance to respond and to have a fair hearing. So, this is the reaction of the Supreme Court because earlier there was the SIR process in West Bengal where many people were deprived of their citizenship and accused of being Bangladeshi nationals. And then, of course, they were deported, or some of them were deported. And then some had to return because they were actually Indian nationals. So, probably with that in mind, the Supreme Court has made this ruling. In other news, what do we have? The World Cup is still in force. We are in the semi-final region of the games, and you have France, Argentina, Spain, and England who are the main contenders. But if Mr. Fanfantino of the FIFA has his way, the next time around there will be more nations playing. According to him, about 64 nations. And I could see many more nations because there's the whole of Africa. And then, of course, you have India and China, which weren't represented. So, anyway, on to the big games. And of course, these players from these countries are all very highly paid and play professionally with the professional clubs of Europe all year round, basically. And what else do we have? Well, the monsoon has sort of given up its ghost here in India due to the El Nino pressures, which are stopping the monsoon winds from arriving. But who knows? Maybe there's still hope yet. Apparently, there's an 18% deficit of rainfall, which hopefully can be made up with a couple of hard showers. So that is what we're looking for here in mid July. And what else is happening? Well, the Iran situation is getting from bad to worse, and the tit for tat exchanges are now increasing between Iran and USA, and that is because of a basic difference in perception. The Iranians see the Hormuz Strait as being under their control, and U.S. sees it another way that all nations should be allowed to freely pass. Well, then I would have to tell USA you shouldn't have attacked them some months ago, which it was an unprovoked attack, and you bombed and killed so many people. Well, Iranians woke up to something else. They saw that they could control the strait where there was no control before, and the shipping and cargo tankers were passing by freely while sanctions and everything was on Iran. So, this is a mess of the USA making, particularly of the Trump administration making decisions in haste, and then you have to ponder and repent at leisure, as they say. Actually, the saying is marry in haste and repent at leisure. But this is also good for the Trump administration. So, a lot of tit for tat attacks, and the Iranians are attacking the American air bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, etc. And it's like back to square one. And Mr. Trump and his team should have given peace a chance and negotiations a chance before unilaterally attacking the Iranians. And according to him, there's hell to play and lots of bombs and stuff like that. But Iran also has a lot of bombs, unfortunately. So that is the case. And that is where we stand, a sad state of affairs brought along by the unilateral actions of the big powers. And such is the case with Russia also, which does not want peace, because that is the guidance that Mr. Putin feels. He can win the war after losing 30,000 Russians every day. And Ukraine has made a lot of inroads by having drones successfully attack a lot of Russian oil refineries, so much so that Russia has to import petroleum from outside, which has never ever happened. Uh, the country mainly thrives on the crude oil and petroleum products. So it's a strange situation to say the least. And the coalition of the willing, that is in Europe, have teamed up together now. It's a coalition of 9 countries plus Ukraine to uh, broaden their anti ballistic program so that they can have good defense protection against Russian missiles. And they will pass on knowledge between themselves and also have common industrial base to make that happen. So that is a shot in the wings forward for the European nations, because Mr. Trump has always told them to get it on by themselves. And that is what they seem to be doing, getting on with their act by themselves and not waiting for America. So that is there. In other American news, a US judge has thrown out Mr. Trump's lawsuit against the IRS for $10 billion, saying it's illegal and unlawful. And basically, it's a president who's holding all the cards and is asking one of his agencies to pay him money, and that to $10 billion. So she doesn't see it that way, and she sees it as a very loose and illegal thing that Mr. Trump has done. So it's another setback to him. And in immigration news, you have another shooting, this time in the city of Maine. A Colombian national was shot in his car as he was driving, leaving behind his wife and child. And it speaks volumes about the immigration agency there in USA. They're absolutely out of control agency. And I would have to agree with the people who are protesting that they have to be abolished. It is the third or fourth shooting that has happened now. Before that, just a day or two, there was a shooting where they shot another man who had been living in the USA for 30 plus years, has his family and everything. So when you shoot innocent people, you are no better than the murderers who you pick up, who have murdered people. And in my thinking, all murderers need to be executed, no matter who they are. And nobody should be given a free pass. Just because you are in law enforcement doesn't mean you can just shoot somebody and get away with it, which happened in Minnesota. They disarmed a man there and shot him in the back, which was horrific to say the least. And then they shot a lady who was trying to leave the scene with her car. So it seems that the immigration agency of USA is ill-equipped and undertrained, to say the least. And they're doing the same thing in the paperwork, uh, raising new hurdles for H-1B visa holders. Give me a break. Those are the people who you want, who are creative and who are taking our country forward, because you don't have the talented people, and instead you're making things harder for them to get their papers. It is a ridiculous state of affairs which has happened in this Trump administration. And even in previous administrations, the whole immigration position is very lopsided and screwed up. I mean, if you need talented people to work in the country and they are bringing value to your country in whatever field they may be, whether it's computers or construction or janitorial, then you have to give them a break and you have to legalize them fast so that they can be living freely and fairly without fear of law enforcement who is always looking down their necks. It is gives a bad taste to the word America, and you don't think of America as a free country, but more like some police state or some Gestapo state with the ice thugs, as somebody called them. And that is what they are. And so America needs to reconsider and change. On that note, we thank you and have a great day.